Oh, the sound off. What's up, guys? As you can see, no longer do I hide in darkness. There is light. Let's keep the camera on. Why not? My face is on the podcast anyway. What's up, Kuba? Good to see you, buddy. News incoming. Good one. Yelena, always good to see you. Good time for the stream. Must be early morning for you. All right, guys. So today I'll probably gonna talk about a little bit about price action, and I will probably tease. Let me mute this. I will probably tease the new feature because I'm too excited about it not to do it. I was thinking maybe I'm gonna just not show it at all until I release it next week. But I think I want to show it anyway. So I'll do that after the price action analysis. As Kuba said, there is some news incoming, CPI, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see, I have it here. Yeah, CPI data coming out and the jobless claims in 10 minutes. So that's going to spark some volatility. Usually for me, it's a sign to do nothing and sit on my butt. But there's something interesting going on here with the fair value gap, which is the feature I am developing. So there's actually something we could derive off that as well. If you could please let me know if my sound's good, by the way. On my end, it seems fine, but just want to double check. So let's dive into the analysis. I have to be honest, I have not looked at statistics at all this week, which is pretty rare. The last time I did that or did not do that is, well, ever since I created it, I guess, but I've just been very busy developing, and you guys are going to see a little bit about what I'm going to release next week. I think it's going to be really good. It's going to add a new dimension to what we're able to do, and it's going to open up a whole lot of doors to doing more cool stuff with statistics. But let's first go to the page right here, multi-time frame page. First thing I would like to check personally, and I have it on filter mode, conservative, which doesn't matter for the weekly, which is the thing I'm most interested in right now because today is Thursday. And the reason I put the stream on Thursday this time is because usually on Thursday you have a pretty good bias for the weekly time frame. And also pretty good, or at least if there's going to be a bias, then you're going to have it on Thursday. And you'll probably also have enough time to have a retrace, so you're going to have time to look for entries. I don't really see a couple of like weak bears. There's actually two strong bears and two strong bulls. For the day itself, I mean, there's nothing going on. There is really nothing we can make of that. Let me just open this right here. I don't want to see the statistics on the weekly for that. But yeah, so we didn't have that far of a move on Bitcoin yet to give us any favorable signs. I mean, on a day like today, I would not press hybrid filtering. So in hybrid filtering, we probably have a lot more signals. So hybrid filtering, well, you guys probably know what it is. It's more aggressive, right? And I do think there's a very valid use case, and I actually use it quite a bit when I look at statistics. But the problem now is that there is just there's news incoming in a bit, right? So we have that CPI news coming out right here. No, wait, here in a bit. So we know that news is going to lead to volatility, especially this kind of news. CPI news is a pretty big one. So oftentimes it leads to volatility, and that means that we can see some very unusual events happening if there's increased volatility. So I would personally not try to bet on hybrid filtering in this case, because basically you're betting on, well, the P1 is going to be in hour zero and it's probably going to hold. It's not even that much of a difference now. I have this now at hybrid filtering. Honestly, it's just a non-day, unfortunately. But I have a feeling that's going to change in a couple of minutes. What we can do, however, is take a look at some of the bear and bull biases for the week. So that's the first thing I want to do. First, let me check Bitcoin because obviously everything depends on Bitcoin. Let me check the statistics on Bitcoin actually. Let me just go to the weekly, then go to Bitcoin, turn off all the filters, turn off recent data, 32.7%, 82.4%. All right, so it seems pretty evident that we need more distance within the week. 82.6% of weeks have more distance. The only problem is that we cannot confidently say whether that's going to be up or down, at least from the statistics. So 32% of the weeks would see a P1, P2 flip on the week like so. I mean, it's above my personal threshold that I would like to see. I would like to see that a little bit lower because then you're more clear on it. The one thing we do have though is that we have P1 on Monday, we have P2 on Wednesday, and we do know that Monday is king, and you don't want to go against the Monday most of the time, right? So if we just look at the time statistics for Bitcoin alone, and again, oh, whoa, look at this, look at that, crazy. Monday is taking off. So this shows how often a weekly low or high is put in on a Monday. 30-week moving average, and we've seen the highest in the last 5 years now. So we have never seen as many Mondays put in a weekly high or weekly low as we have now, up to 86% of the time in the last 30 weeks. 86%. That's crazy. So obviously that's not something we want to go against. So personally, if we have 88% of weeks that have further distance, and we have in the last 30 weeks at least 86% where this does not get taken out, I mean, my bet would be on further downside because, but that's only on time statistics. Preferably, I would see the distance statistics line up on that. So far, I'm not seeing it. So you got to go off something, and that's where some TA will come in handy. But I want to emphasize, I'm doing this more for the sake of an explanation. I personally would not, if I would be trading, take any positions right now because there's news coming out, in 4 minutes. And I personally always prefer to stay on the sidelines. Of course, everyone can make up their own minds on that, but that's personally what I prefer to do. So let's look a little bit at the bigger picture then, because obviously we can apply some TA. We're still in this mega range of absolute boringness. And now the question becomes, so it's pretty cool that we tapped that fair value gap, which we were looking for. If you remember on Friday, I mentioned that probably within 7 days, there's a very good chance we're going to tap this fair value gap. Also note that I not necessarily said fill. I said, okay, we're probably going to tap it within 7 days. We did that. That's because the fair value gap feature, I explained the statistics in the Discord. So we did that, and now we're retracing based off of that reaction, right? So we mitigated some of that fair value gap, and now we're going down again. And now the question obviously is, are we going to go further down or not? We're also a little bit ranging around this high time frame point of control, and we have this even also here a high time frame, or a high value node, sorry, that right now is acting as some sort of support. So this zone is an extreme chop zone, in my opinion. This is quite a chop zone, like in between these high value nodes, right on top of the news. Yeah, I personally would very much decide to do nothing and wait and see what happens. Again, with news, anything can happen. I personally always throw the statistics out of windows on news days. I just prefer not to do it. I've seen that news events lead to statistically unlikely events. So therefore, I prefer not to trade on them or just let them go, let them develop. What you can do is check back after the news dropped, and then check 8-hour and 4-hour candles, see from there. But besides news, there's also you're just in an absolute nothingness zone right here, and we have been in this. I wouldn't call this range anymore. We had this range of absolute boringness here for a while, but so far it is clear that even besides that there's a news event dropping, you're just right in the middle of this pretty zone of nothingness. You can see it is kind of like support resistance area where price, flips below and above. So here for a while, we have been trading above it. Well, lost it for a bit. Again, reclaimed it here. lost it, and then, well, this is a quick spike through, but then here, resistance, tried to get up, didn't work, tried to get up, and now it's kind of retesting it, but yeah, I wouldn't do anything on Bitcoin right here other than simply wait and see. If it wouldn't be a news event, maybe I could be inclined to say, well, Monday is the weekly high. Maybe I would look for something like that. And something I would like to do then, because obviously at some point this has to come down, right? So if we go to the distance statistics, what I very much like to do is that I just like to look at, if I just, no filtering applied, look at this table here, which can easily show me. Oh yeah, look at that. So what I was gonna look for is there any short-term change in when P1 is being put in for the week? But there is not. It's just Monday, 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 Tuesday, Monday, Monday, Wednesday, Monday, Monday, Thursday, Monday, 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 Monday. An absolutely insane amount of Mondays. So, if there was, based on that alone, because it's so strong, if there was no news event right now, I could be inclined to say, well, maybe I want to look for a short targeting new weekly lows, given that the Monday is simply so strong. And we can see that easily if we put this one on and just jump this one up so we can see all the latest. So from here, P1 Monday, P1 Monday, P1 Monday, P1 Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Monday, Wednesday, Monday, Monday, Thursday, Monday, 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 and so on, right? So really lots of Mondays. For some reason, I don't know why, we don't have to know why, but Mondays are extremely, extremely powerful within this range. So I wouldn't necessarily bet against them, but I would definitely wait until after the news drops, see what happens, and then maybe some short opportunity might develop after that. At this point in time, I wouldn't take anything though. I think the news just dropped actually. Let's see if the news just dropped. And inflation, yeah. I used to have this amazing site where I would see immediately what the numbers were. Unfortunately, that site went down, and now I'm stuck with this. Oh, wait, I have this one. Let's see, pending. So we don't have them yet. But they should be coming out at any second now. Forecast 0.2, 0.1, 2.3 unemployment claims. All right, so let's see what that does. I do think it should be out by now. But if anything, if there's no volatility, then my best guess based on statistics of that weekly P1 Monday and how many weeks have further displacement, I would say that lower is more likely than higher. Let me just see one more thing. Last week we also saw only negative 8.8%. Before that, negative 6 or plus 6.4%. So we're seeing some very involatile weeks. So it does seem that volatility is picking off a little bit. This one. Nope, could work. Yeah, so if anything, my bias would be for lower prices for the week. So but again, I really think we're in the nothing zone and I'd rather wait for Bitcoin right there. But if I would have to say anything, it would be lower. So that brings us to those assets that we saw that do have a bias. Let's see if they look a little bit different. Select all of them. P1s with bigger distance, less than 25%. Weeks with more distance is greater than 60%. Oh, wow. Holy shit. Uni. Damn, that's crazy. 2.7 against 77.3. Yeah, and then also it's been 48 weeks since we've seen a flip. So right here you see it's been 48 weeks, and Thursday was a P1, so that's probably not going to happen. The only problem is that there's no entry. 1.76. Let's see if there was an entry there. Uni USDT. Pretty odd week, but this is the kind of coin I would be looking for because you see it's way more trending. So I often talk about this, right? Where Bitcoin is clearly stuck in that nothingness zone, or at least is being a little bit less volatile. You see that Uni is severely trending. Well, it's completely off, but you know what I mean. It's trending into a direction rather than just being stuck. So this is something nice, but or at least the PA is looking good for something I would be looking for, but obviously we're way too high now to look at anything. So no entry here, although statistics are looking good to go further up. Let me see. Yeah, no, there's no entry there. The best you could hope for is that there's going to be retracement on the daily, and that would give you. Let me check which ones are nice. Let's take some bearish ones and some bullish ones. Unfortunately, Adam also doesn't have a good retracement. Let's take TRX and a bearish one. TRX and ball. All right, so Uni, TRX, and ball. Uni, TRX, and ball. There we go. So what I want to do is see if there's any confluence on the lower time frames. So for example, right here, I would just have to cut the filters off. Oh yeah, that's an interesting one. So here, this is what I'm looking for. Okay, so never mind. This is not going to work, right? 19% of days see more distance. I'm not going to do it. This is actually a good point to bring up. So, for example, one might look at this and say Uni has this P2 at hour 11 and say that, okay, hour 11, it's been 112 days since it has been P1. So the P1, P2 flip. It's not going to happen. I mean, that's already pretty obvious here, 0.9%. And then what people may do is say, well, it's also very low probability as a P2, 2.1%. And it's been 66 days since that happened. So people could conclude, like, well, that's something I would want to do. If we get a retrace here, I would like to jump into that and target P2. I would personally not do that. The reason for that being is this metric right here. Only 19.3% of days go have more distance between P1 and P2. So that means that for that to happen, you're betting on a very improbable. We're already, what I always say, we're already in the realm of the improbable. So if you're already in the realm of the improbable, it's a given that it's very likely, or at least not very likely that you're gonna have a. Well, I can say that even stronger. It is impossible that you're gonna have a likely event because we're already in unlikely territories, right? So it's definitely not weird to say that okay, our 11 will hold this time. So for me, if I see this, immediately discard. I will look for the next one. TRX and Ball don't really have anything on. No, really don't have anything on the daily time frame. The weekly time frame, they did have something though, so let's take a look at that. Let's see. All right, TRX. Get the naked point of controls on there. No warning signs. P1 Monday, P2 Wednesday, and 17.9% of the time. So that's actually quite crazy because it sees so much more displacement. Usually, I mean, holy shit. That's a wild chart. That is a wild chart. 278%. Not bad. TRX, not bad, especially in this market. So if I see something like this, when everything is mostly trending up, of course, we have this, down moves right here in between. But in general, the trend is very much up. Statistics are favoring upside. Then I would be very much in favor of trying to see if there's anything here to enter along. So this one I actually really like. We can also check, especially because 90% of weeks see more distance. 90%. That's really a lot. We can check a little bit more at the time statistics. We kind of want to see how strong the Monday is on TRX. We know it's very strong on Bitcoin, but is it strong on TRX? Let's see. Less strong, but strong. Still strong. 57.8. Yeah, that's still a very likely play. I mean, not as likely as Bitcoin, right? Which is at 80% in the last 30 days. Absolutely insane. 86%, I think it was. So Wednesday has been 23 days since it was P1. It's not happening a lot lately at all. Let me check. Wednesdays that we see here, the orange line is Wednesday. I need to fix this padding, by the way. I'll fix that. But so we can see Wednesday has been happening less and less in the last weeks. So not a pivot I would bet on personally. So if I see this, and right now what kind of? Yeah, so if I see this is something I like more. Obviously, we need to Bitcoin to not dump. If Bitcoin dumps, everything is, this is not something I would touch because if Bitcoin dumps, usually everything else follows. Uh, but so far, not seeing any signs yet. Bitcoin is in that middle of nothing zone. So TRX is actually something I would be interested in. Statistically speaking, this looks pretty good. We have that fair value gap that is being filled now. We was here. Oh, wait, let me put on. So you're gonna for next week for the fair value gap feature, you're gonna want to have this one in your trading view. Fair value gap. This is pretty much mapping out exactly how I'm using it, and we do see a lot of fair value gaps below it. I mean, I only have test data for the fair value gap feature. Otherwise, I would have jumped right in now and see what the fair value gap feature was saying. But I don't have data for TRX at the moment. We will have next week. Let me put this one down. But so these are definitely zones you want to see. It's good to mitigate them. But anyway, here looking for an entry is not a weird idea in my book. Oh yeah, so this very area high looks like a very interesting location. We'll mitigate that top fair value gap, could tap that lower fair value gap. It's a very area high of this local uptrend right here, and it is this SR flip level. But I mean, I'm not the specialist in entries, right? I want to make that clear. I'm the specialist in statistics and biases. This is what I'm doing, but of course, I know TA. So just my 2 cents is, this is first zone I would be very interested in looking at. It is also below here. I mean, this here you get the high volume area, right? So you don't want to lose this. There would be a sign of weakness for sure. And you have this high volume node here that you're losing. Not the best, but yeah, as long as you hold this, reason to believe more upside is coming. So TRX, I approve. You have to do your TA on it, but I do statistically like it way more than what we saw previously. Not bad. All right, so let me see if there's any questions before we continue. Nope. there any news already out? All right, I need another site to get. Oh, there we go. 0.3 forecast. Slightly more than forecasted. Yeah, well, so far it doesn't seem to do a lot to price at all. Let's wait and see. All right, so TRX looks nice, and then we had, let's see, Ball. We had Ball, so let me go there. So TRX further upside for the week, quite a bit. I mean, 90% of weeks go further than what we have seen so far. So that's really, really a lot. I mean, let me actually close it off with going to the distance page on TRX. You know, here, 89% of weeks see more distance. Funnily enough, the last three weeks that did not happen. We had three really volatile weeks for TRX. 3.2, 5.6, and 3.6. That's crazy. That's like here. That's nothing. Let me check that. Let me check that. Yeah, so these 3 weeks here, very volatile. Yeah, still, you know, what are the odds of it happening 4 times in a row? You would ask yourself. So I would still keep, I would still keep the same bias. Let's move on to ball USDT, quick eye on Bitcoin, not much happening. So ball is bearish, right? That's why I picked two. I want to have one that's bullish, one that's bearish. Ball's bearish because let's go there. 18.8% for P1's a big distance, which means that 1 out of 5 weeks would flip the current P1 on the week, and 80% see more displacement. The only problem is that when I checked this, it was a 2.25 retracement, so I was hoping that it would kind of go in the right direction. But unfortunately, oh, that's interesting, by the way. See, I'll get back to that. I just noticed something. But unfortunately, it's going down this current retracement level, which means that price is moving into the downside direction, right? I was hoping we would see a little bit more of a retrace. But this one's looking pretty neat because we have P1 on Monday, P2 on Wednesday. We can see that Monday, in terms of time, good pivot, obviously. P2 Wednesday, it is 20% time adjusted, but this one's interesting. It's been 11 weeks, so it's not very happening a lot as well. It's kind of the same setup as TRX, only then inverted. And this one here, we can see that Wednesday has been 23 weeks since it has been P2. So it's not happening a lot as P2, which means that, you know, all that together looks like a pretty neat recipe for further downside. I do see, I do see we are in this range right there. Yeah, classic range. Right on the point of control. Okay, so that's not something I would personally trade into the point of control of this range. No, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. You know, I mean, a high volume area that's typically, you know, support until proven otherwise. So not something I would trade into. So I would discard this one right there and then. And it was because yeah, it proved to be support. Yeah, I personally wouldn't do it. Personally wouldn't do it. See what time it is. Just looking here at ball. Oh wow. Okay, that's interesting. So ball actually also has a very, very, very strong Monday, 72%. Still not as strong as Bitcoin, but strong nonetheless. And Wednesday has been underperforming less and less. So actually, yeah, if this would not have been right on top of pretty high time frame point of control, I would have 100% considered that. Statistically, it's still likely to go down further, but I just wouldn't want to place my bets on a doing that on sport level. And if anything, there's no entry right here anyway. So the only thing for today, unfortunately, because the markets are volatile today and yesterday, is TRX, perhaps along somewhere from here. Other than that, ball I did not like, and what was the other one again? TRX, ball, uni was too far up. So uni on oh, that's one other thing I saw. So uni on the weekly has definitely more upside to go. So on the daily it doesn't, but on the weekly it does. Whoops. Uni USDT. Look at it go. So that was what I'm going to say. So on the daily, there was a low probability high to be taken out, but I said, okay, but we're already at that 20% zone, so I would have bet on it. Personally, I wouldn't. Then I noticed later on, like, hey, the weekly still has further displacement. So that is one more, at the end of the thing, and at the end of the day, you're also finding confluences. So for me, finding, and that's why I wanted to get at, finding that extra confluence, like, well, the weekly still has to go up might be something that could make you more aggressive because you have confluence between that daily and that weekly time frame, and it's Thursday. So you know the days that you're going to have further displacement are limited. It's either going to be this afternoon, Friday, or Sunday, because Saturday almost nothing happens. But it's already pumping up. Like there's no entry there. Obviously, no entry. Uni is going. Let's see if we maybe in the meantime have gotten some more, and otherwise I might start teasing that feature if anyone is interested. If not, I won't, and you will just see it next week, which is also fine. But first, let's see what else is going on. Check in with Bitcoin. So for Bitcoin, the idea was that lower seems more likely, right? To take out that weekly low, simply because that Monday high is just so strong. But the conclusion was that we're pretty much in the middle of nothing. So I prefer to not act at this point. But if anything, lower seems more likely. A massive range, massive. Like how long has this been going on now? If we say we started it here, 211 days. That's crazy. I do think though that heading into the U.S. elections, we're gonna there's an increasing probability to leave this range. And I still believe it's to the upside, by the way. That hasn't changed. All right, let's see one person, Cartopedia, what's up? Interested in the new feature? So we're going to dive into it. Let me just open that up because I need to open up developer mode. Mm, let me just quickly push that live. Or not live, but to my test environment because that would be way easier. And we could actually do some fun analysis with it on Bitcoin and Solana. So give me a second here because this will take a bit to load. No reaction from Bitcoin on that news. So look at that. Not the grandest week of Bitcoin so far. All right, so let me already open up the chart for Solana as well, because we're going to look at Bitcoin and Solana, because those are the two assets I am working with when I'm developing. So that's what I have data for. Hang on with me, guys. I'm opening this thing. Let me see if I can close some programs. Yes, I can. Close this one. Whoops, I do not have my charger connected. Let me fix that. Well, it seems that my development version does not want to load. Oh, there it is. I see life. I see life. All right. Because the thing is, I'm running so much right now. Obviously, the streaming software, websites. Now I'm running Windows at the same time because, believe it or not, I actually have to run Windows to develop this thing, and I'm running a MacBook. So there's two operating systems running, so it's taking up an enormous amount of memory, which is why it's taking so long. Normally, if I'm not streaming, it doesn't take so long because the streaming software also takes up quite a bit. Just let that load. Lana and Bitcoin. All right, well, let me just give my high time frame thoughts while this thing is loading because it's really taking, it's completely stalling. I also cannot see the chat right now at the moment. So my high time frame thought, just to give my short analysis over it, and then I'm going to show you the feature I'm working on if it wants to load. But high time frame for me, nothing has changed. And for anyone who's been following me, you probably know that I suspect still upside. One of the main reasons is because, well, global liquidity is probably on the rise with the U.S. election coming up. I do think it really depends on who will win, regardless on whether you like Kamala Harris or Donald Trump. Completely besides the argument, I do think that if Trump wins, because as investors, our job is obviously to anticipate what might happen. If Trump wins, I do think there's more of a bullish effect because I think the sentiment is that a lot of people, most people think it will be better for the economy. So if he doesn't win, obviously it's going to have a negative effect or has potential to be a negative effect. And then we might see less upside than if he does win. So let's see. In 28 days, we will know. But leading up to the election, I would be surprised not to see some volatility coming up because that's usually what happens. But in general, because we are nearing that global liquidity is always on the rise. Global liquidity is rising at the moment, from what I last read. But purely from a TA perspective, is something what I said is that high time frame we are still in this uptrend on the weekly, on the daily, in between that weekly time frame we have this lower daily time frame uptrend, and so both of these are still up. Even if we would lose this level, we're still in an uptrend. But we had this amazing tap off of it, and this is actually one of my favorite setups where you have like a lower time frame low in a higher time frame impulse, and that gets tapped. Usually these lead to. I actually want to implement this in the dashboard at some point, but there'll be an advanced feature. But I'm definitely going to implement it at some point because these I once gathered manual statistics on them, and they have a great, really great win rate. But so these time frames are still trending up, which means that you know logically speaking, until it reverses, it's better to assume it's the uptrend. I also don't see any signs of exhaustion there yet. I've made an extensive post about this as well. You might have read it on how retraces look in uptrends. And this is pretty much what a retrace looks in an uptrend. So for now, what I'm seeing is something that fits more for a retrace before continued upside. Uh, other than instead of a reversal. With that said, I do think there's more. Personally, I do think there's more than technical analysis. Obviously, that's why I'm in statistics. But also, I think fundamental things have a big effect on the market, right? We had like black swan events. We had the Japanese carry trade that took out the low here, which, in my opinion, was news induced because no one saw it coming. And I do think fundamental things like who wins elections will also have an effect on it. And whether that's good or bad is up to debate, but it has an effect, and the policies that will follow has an effect as well. So we got to have to wait for that one. Let me see, because I'm having Discord here. Yeah, just something that came to mind. All right, that's a feature request. I'll check that later. Newsfeed. I've actually been thinking about implementing some sort of newsfeed. All right, I have good news. It is loading, believe it or not. Slowly, we'll get there. You persevere, you will win. Regardless, so, this is all still pointing up to me. I really like the way this is shaping up. Nice range. So I personally do think that we're gonna see more upside. And you would say that after 220 days, that moment is coming. And I do think Q4 is going to be bullish for cryptocurrencies. That I do think. How bullish we will see, but I do think it's bullish. And what I think will happen. So what I think will happen is that people will take profits too early. If you remember, I once made a post right here where I said it was at the 17th of March, I think, or the 3rd, or maybe the 20th of March, around here somewhere, where I said, okay, long only mode is over. And what I said then is that everyone will get wrecked. So what I said, we'll have a range for a couple of months. I thought 2 or 3 months, but I mean, it's five plus months by now. I didn't expect that. But what I expect to happen what I expect to happen, or what I expected then to happen, is that we would see a range, because what I said is for 50 days here, if you remember, 50 days, we have seen people get conditioned to long, right? Everyone who longed got conditioned to just long top, long bottoms, long everything, and you will be rewarded for 50 days. So that does a lot. There's a lot of dopamine for people. People go crazy about it. And then, at some point, you're gonna get punished for it. So that's what happened here, but it takes a while for people to get reconditioned, right? That's why people here keep longing. I remember I had these discussions. So people long this, and people long this, people long this, people long this, because here it was just up, 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 up. So people kept doing that. What now happens is the opposite, right? People now got conditioned that you have to take profits early, right? So people are now conditioned to take profits early. So if this thing does break out, then what's going to happen is that people are probably going to take profits here, here, and then it has the potential to just keep ripping, leaving all those people behind. All right, guys, I think I have a solution for this. What I'm going to do is, while I'm saying it, this thing is actually starting to show light. because it's taking so long to load. I was going to propose, because I'm done with the TA and the statistical analysis. Not much is happening, unfortunately. I really want to show the feature. It will be fun. What I was going to propose is that I'm going to cut off the stream and then go in Discord in the voice channel and show it there, because it will be less, it will be easy for me to open, let me check this, to open up this new working version that I'm working on, which clearly my MacBook from 2019 is having a very, very, very difficult time. Let me try it one more time here. And if it doesn't work now, then we're just going to move over to Discord. Oh, wait. Is it actually happening? It is actually happening. It is opening. All right. Well, then there's hope. Then there is hope. All right. I still think let's switch to Discord, guys, because probably just uploading this is going to cost me like half an hour as well with the speed this is going. So my 2 cents for Bitcoin and the rest is clear. The only thing I saw was kind of nice with TRX. We have to see if that is going to play out. Ball had that bearish bias, but it just jumped on that point of control. So also not a very good play. So TRX is really the only thing I can find. We have days like this, we have weeks like this where just not a lot happens. Bitcoin in a very undecisive zone right now, so I also wouldn't hedge my bet or really bet a lot on this. But purely statistically speaking, because that Monday is so strong, lower is more statistically more likely. But yeah, we are in that pretty much nothing zone, so not something I would personally want to take any action. So with that said, guys, I don't even think I can watch the chat right now. So because the thing is so laggy, if you have any questions, I'm just gonna ask you to. Oh wait, oh I can see the chat. I can see the chat. So what we're gonna do? What's up, Kaiser Tutsa, HFT? You're not fooling us, man. All the new guys. Kaiser Tutsa is originally HFT, but he's hiding in plain sight until his altcoin portfolio is going up again. Asa, what's up, man? 1 hour late as usual, but just in time to see the new feature. But guys, we're gonna probably do it in the Discord. So there's a voice channel in the Discord. Just hop in there, and then I'll fire up the thing there. I just need to see if I'm able to even. I think I cannot even close the stream. This whole thing is bugging out. Let me close this. Free up some RAM. All right, there we go. Okay, so guys, I'm going to close the stream. Let's jump in the Discord, and then I'll show you the new